You tell your child to get dressed. Nothing. You say it again, a little louder. Still playing with toys. Third time, you're frustrated. Fourth time, you're angry. Fifth time, you're yelling. And finally, they move. Here's what's actually happening. You're not failing as a parent, but you are accidentally teaching your child one dangerous lesson. The first time doesn't count. In the next few minutes, I'll show you 5 specific mistakes that train your child to ignore you, and the neuroscience-based framework that gets them listening the first time. Let's be honest about what's really happening in your house. You give a direction. Your child doesn't respond, so you repeat it. Still nothing. You add a warning, maybe raise your voice a little. Eventually, you either do it yourself or escalate to the point where they finally comply. This pattern feels like patience. It feels like you're being respectful. But here's the brutal truth. Every single time you repeat yourself without following through, you're running a training program. And that program teaches one lesson. Ignore mom or dad the first few times, because they don't really mean it yet. But this isn't your fault. Most parents fall into this trap because we've been told that repetition equals patience. The reality is, you're accidentally using something called intermittent reinforcement, one of the strongest ways to create stubborn behavior patterns. Your child isn't defying you. They're just following the system you unknowingly created. Here's what changes everything. There's a framework based on how your child's brain actually develops and learns. It's built on research around executive function, attention patterns, and the way young minds process authority. Parents who apply this method see changes within 24 to 48 hours, not because they're being stricter, but because they're working with their child's neurology instead of against it. I call it the one warning method. It's simple, respectful, and incredibly effective. But before I show you how it works, you need to understand the 5 myths that are sabotaging your efforts right now. These beliefs feel intuitive. They seem kind and respectful, but each one is actually training your child to tune you out. The first myth that 90% of parents believe is myth 1 of 5, repeating equals being patient. Most parents think that saying something multiple times shows respect for their child's autonomy, that giving them several chances to respond is gentle and understanding. Here's the truth. When you repeat directions without action, you're teaching your child that your voice is background noise. In neuroscience, this is called signal versus noise. Every time you say the same thing without following through, your words become noise. When you take action immediately, your words become a signal that demands attention. The new rule is simple: 1 clear direction, 1 warning if needed, then immediate follow-through. Here's why this works. Your child's brain is constantly learning patterns. When the pattern is mom says it 5 times before she means it, that's exactly what they'll expect. When the pattern becomes mom says it once and means it, they adapt to that reality just as quickly. Let me show you what this looks like. Before. Please put your toys away. Put your toys away. I said put your toys away. Put your toys away now. Finally, you either do it yourself or drag them over to clean up. After. Time to put toys away. Wait 10 seconds. This is your one warning. Toys away now, or I'll come help you do it. Then you walk over and guide them through the process. The script is, I'm going to say this once. If you need help, I'll come help you. Within days, your child learns that the first time you speak is the time that counts. They stop waiting for the volume to increase or the frustration to build. But myth number 2 about raising your voice is even more destructive. Myth 2. Myth 2 of 5. If I raise my voice, they'll take me seriously. We've all been there. Normal voice gets ignored, so we try a firmer tone. Still nothing. Eventually we're yelling, and suddenly they respond. It feels like volume equals authority. Here's the truth. When you escalate your voice to get compliance, you're teaching your child to only respond to anger. Your calm voice becomes meaningless because they've learned that angry voice is when you actually mean business. The new rule: neutral tone with high follow-through. This works because of something called co-regulation. Research shows that children literally borrow your emotional state to manage their own behavior. When you're calm and predictable, their brain can access the cooperative thinking parts. When you're escalated, their nervous system switches to fight, flight, or freeze. Here's the transformation. Before, time for bed, ignored. Time for bed, ignored. Get to bed right now. Finally, they move, but everyone's upset. After, time for bed. Wait a moment. I see you haven't started yet. I'm coming over to help you get started. You walk over and calmly guide them through the first step. The script is, I see you haven't started. I'm going to come over there with you. Within a week, your child learns that your calm voice predicts action. They stop testing for the anger threshold because there isn't one. You mean what you say at normal volume. Your voice becomes a signal they can trust instead of noise they can ignore. But myth 3 about gentle questions actually backfires even worse. Myth 3. Now here's the myth that shocks most parents because it goes against everything we've been taught about respectful parenting. Myth 3 of 5. Questions are gentler and more respectful. Most of us have been told that saying, "Would you like to brush your teeth?" or "Can you please clean up?" is more respectful than giving direct instructions. It feels like we're honoring their autonomy. Here's the truth. Questions invite the answer no and open the door to negotiation. When you ask a question about something that isn't actually optional, you're setting both of you up for conflict. The new rule: give clear directions with bounded choices within the framework you set. This works because of what we know about executive function. Children under 8 don't yet have the brain development to handle complex decision-making about non-negotiable tasks, but they do thrive when given autonomy within clear boundaries. Here's what this looks like. Before, would you like to clean up your room now? No. Well, you have to clean it up. I don't want to. And now you're stuck in a negotiation about something that was never optional. After, time to clean up your room. Do you want to start with the books or the toys first? This gives them choice and control within the boundary you've set. The script is, time to clean up. Do you want to start with books or toys? Your child gets to exercise autonomy while learning that the overall expectation isn't negotiable. They feel respected without being given inappropriate control over adult decisions. This approach eliminates the power struggles that come from fake choices while still honoring their need for some control over their environment. And myth 4 will completely change how you think about defiance. Myth 4. Here's the myth that triggers respect issues in so many families. Myth 4 of 5. They ignore me because they don't respect me. When your child doesn't respond to directions, it's natural to assume it's about respect, that they're being defiant or testing boundaries. This leads to escalating consequences and power struggles. Here's the truth. Most of the time, ignoring isn't defiance, it's development. Your child's prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that controls impulses and manages tasks, isn't fully developed until age 25. What looks like willful disobedience is often just an overwhelmed nervous system. The new rule: distinguish between can't and won't, then design age-appropriate directions. Research on executive function shows us that task switching, impulse control, and working memory are genuinely limited in young children. When we give directions that exceed their developmental capacity, we're setting them up to fail. Here's the difference. Before, go upstairs, brush your teeth, put on pajamas, and get into bed. This is 4 separate tasks for a developing brain to hold and sequence. When they don't do it, you assume defiance. After, first step, upstairs. Wait for completion. Great, now brush teeth. Wait for completion. Perfect, now pajamas. One step at a time, matching their developmental capacity. The script is, first, shoes, then I'll remind you of the next step. When you match your expectations to your child's actual abilities, cooperation increases dramatically. They experience success instead of overwhelm, which builds their confidence and willingness to try. This doesn't mean lowering standards, it means delivering them in a way your child's brain can actually process. And the final myth about timeout will surprise you. Myth 5. Myth 5 of 5. Timeout is harmful and should never be used. Many parents have been told that any form of timeout is outdated, that it damages the parent-child relationship and should be completely avoided. Here's the truth. When used correctly, timeout isn't punishment. It's simply a brief removal of attention and social connection. For behaviors that are unsafe or harmful, it's one of the clearest ways to communicate boundaries. The new rule, use timeout only for unsafe behaviors, keep it brief, and always repair the relationship afterward. This works because attention is the most valuable currency your child has. When unsafe behavior results in temporary loss of attention and connection, most children quickly learn to choose safety. The key is using it sparingly and always reconnecting afterward. Here's what appropriate timeout looks like. Before, either avoiding consequences altogether when your child hits or throws things, leading to escalation, or using timeout as punishment for minor infractions like not eating dinner. After, hitting means a break from playing. Sit here until you're ready to keep your hands safe. After a brief break, I can see you're ready to play safely now. Let's try again. The script is, hitting means break from playing. Come back when you're ready to be safe. The timeout addresses the immediate safety concern without shaming your child. The repair afterward maintains your connection and gives them a chance to try again. This approach teaches clear boundaries around safety without damaging your relationship. Your child learns that unsafe choices have immediate consequences while still feeling loved and supported. Now that you understand these 5 myths, let me show you what your family life looks like when you apply the one warning method. Picture tomorrow morning. Instead of the usual chaos, you say once, "Time to get dressed for school." Your child looks up, nods, and starts moving. No repetition, no escalation, no drama. Within 24 hours of implementing the one warning method, you'll notice the first changes. Your child starts responding to your normal voice because they've learned it predicts action. In 2 to 4 weeks, the entire atmosphere in your home shifts. Morning routines become smoother. Bedtime stops being a battle. You're not constantly managing behavior because your child has internalized the new system. After 3 months, something remarkable happens. Your child develops an internal voice that says, "When mom or dad speaks once, it's important." They don't need external enforcement because the pattern has become automatic. Here's what this actually looks like. You're making dinner and you say, "Please set the table." Without looking up, your child says, "Okay," and starts moving. Not because they're afraid, but because they've learned to trust that you mean what you say. The neural pathways in their brain have literally rewired. What started as external structure has become internal cooperation. Your relationship becomes based on mutual respect instead of power struggles. Your child feels secure because they know what to expect from you. You feel confident because you have tools that actually work. This isn't about creating compliance through fear. It's about creating cooperation through clarity, consistency, and understanding how your child's developing brain actually works. I know what you're thinking right now. This sounds too cold and rigid. I want a warm, loving relationship with my child. Here's what I want you to understand. The one warning method actually creates more warmth and connection, not less. When you eliminate the frustration cycle of repeating and escalating, you have more emotional energy for playfulness, affection, and genuine connection. But my child is extremely strong-willed. This approach won't work with them. Actually, strong-willed children need clear, consistent boundaries more than anyone. They're often the ones testing for reliability because they crave predictable structure. When you become consistent with the one warning method, strong-willed children often become your biggest cooperators because they finally feel secure. I'm worried about emotional damage. Won't this hurt my child's feelings or damage our bond? Emotional damage comes from unpredictability and chronic frustration, not from clear, calm boundaries. When your child knows what to expect from you, they feel safer, not more anxious. Consistent follow-through builds trust in your relationship because they learn that you're reliable. Children thrive with structure, not in spite of it. When they can predict your responses, their nervous system relaxes. They stop spending energy testing boundaries and start using that energy for cooperation and growth. The one warning method isn't about being harsh, it's about being clear. Your child will feel more secure, not less loved, when they know they can count on you to mean what you say. Here's your challenge for the next 24 hours. Pick one common direction in your house, maybe cleanup time, getting dressed, or coming to dinner. For the next day, use the one warning method with just that one situation. Give one clear direction. If needed, give one warning. Then immediately follow through with calm action. Watch what happens. You'll be amazed at how quickly your child adapts when they realize you mean what you say the first time. Remember this, your voice should be a signal, not background noise. When you speak once and mean it, your child learns to listen the first time. Instead of calling your child 5 times tomorrow morning, you'll give one clear direction and watch them respond immediately. Not because they're afraid, but because they've learned to trust that when you speak, it matters. Comment one warning below if you're ready to try this challenge, and I'll be cheering you on. Next week, I'll show you the 3-second rule that stops tantrums before they even start. You won't want to miss it.